Is our blessed Lord politically a socialist? Well, that's just what a Canadian politician claimed this last Christmas while attempting to co-opt our blessed Lord for his own political agenda.
Jesus was undoubtedly a democratic socialist.
Well, we have some questions for this Mr. Adam Van Koeverden. But first, as always, we start with our mission. Always remember, God created us for this time and for this place. If we learn this faith, if we live this faith, if we share this faith, what will the next 100 years look like? Join the mission.
Jesus was undoubtedly a democratic socialist. He cared about people first and foremost. I would just remind my colleague that he was on his way to Bethlehem because Mary and Joseph were tax compliant. They were going for the census because they believed in helping other people.
First off, is our blessed Lord a democratic socialist? I don't know, because I don't know what a democratic socialist is. I know what a regular socialist is, but apparently there's a new flavor of socialist, the democratic socialist. And the question is our blessed Lord one of them? Well, according to Mr. Van Koeverden, he is. And why does he believe this?
Jesus was undoubtedly a democratic socialist. He cared about people first and foremost.
So Mr. Van Koeverden seems to define a democratic socialist as someone who cares about people first and foremost. I suppose that makes my grandma a democratic socialist. God rest her soul. She cared about people first and foremost. I recall the many, many sacrifices that she made for other people because, well, she cared about them. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm just not quite convinced by Mr. Van Koeverden's reasoning. Because when I think of socialists, I don't think of people who cared about other people. I think of mass murderers like Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin, and they killed people, lots of people, which isn't something you do if you care about people first and foremost. This is the part where the political science majors light up the comm box below to explain to me that Lenin and Stalin either were not socialists or they did not kill anyone. Because we can't have this fat slob on YouTube denigrate the holy name of democratic socialists. Go ahead. Let me know that everything that I am saying is just a stereotypical caricature and that I don't really understand what a democratic socialist is. That part may be true. I don't know. And I would like to find out because I would like to know if our blessed Lord is one. So I went to the official website for the Democratic Socialists of America, which claims to be the largest socialist organization in the United States, where I noticed that in that statement, the modifier democratic was dropped from the term democratic socialist, and they referred to themselves simply as socialists. Under the section, What is a Democratic Socialist? There's a lot of information about capitalism, which is an odd thing to find under the heading, What is a Democratic Socialist? Can you imagine going to the dictionary to look up the word dog, but the definition did not tell you what a dog was? It just explained how evil cats are and how they're exploiting you? That's what happened here. There doesn't seem to be an answer to the question, what is a democratic socialist? All I really learned is that democratic socialists want to have a real voice and space to flourish. Oh, and of course the usual things that you would expect to find on a socialist site, such as collective ownership of economic drivers and energy production and transportation. In other words, wealth. This group exists for the purpose of legitimizing the confiscation of wealth. So, lest some political science major correct me below in the comm box by claiming that I don't know what I'm talking about, and everything I ever believed about socialists was just a stereotyped caricature, that, in their own words, right there, is everything that I ever believed about socialists, right there, in their own words, all of it. Well, except for the revolutionary, we're gonna kill you and take all your stuff part. Maybe that's just a stereotype caricature. And in that case, I'm willing to have an open, oh, wait, no, there it is, right there. The revolution must be trauma-informed. And it's gently inferred all over their site in articles such as Political Revolution 101, Political Revolution in the 21st Century. On this point, Wikipedia states in their article about democratic socialism, Although most democratic socialists seek a gradual transition to socialism, democratic socialism can support revolutionary or reformist politics to establish socialism. So in what way was our blessed Lord a democratic socialist? Sure, he cared for people first and foremost, but I'm not sure if he wanted space to flourish. And in no way can you argue that he was out for a political revolution. He was clear. He came to lay down his life and not to oust the procurator Pontius Pilate. Maybe you could argue that he was a democratic socialist because his followers shared their belongings with each other, as if socialists have a monopoly on sharing. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that some people somewhere did share something at some point in time before Karl Marx and his contemporaries came up with this reverse pyramid scheme. Plus, it may not be immediately obvious, but me choosing of my own free will to share my belongings with the poor or with my friends, that's not quite the same thing as a collective group taking it and redistributing it among themselves. But let's get back to Mr. Van Koeverden, who expresses this confusion about Christian virtue in his claim.
I would just remind my colleague that he was on his way to Bethlehem because Mary and Joseph were tax compliant. They were going for the census because they believed in helping other people.
Of all the virtues of the Holy Family, the Blessed Virgin's great fiat, "Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord, let it be done unto me according to thy word," and St. Joseph's willingness to lay down his life protecting and caring for our Blessed Lord and his Blessed Mother, despite all the dangers they faced. That which seems to be most virtuous to you, Mr. Van Koeverden, is the fact that they were obedient to an occupying military force, and they were tax compliant.
That he was on his way to Bethlehem because Mary and Joseph were tax compliant.
As a virtue, which somehow you correspond with helping people, as if the Roman occupiers were counting in the census for the purpose of creating welfare programs. Reminder, the Romans were a foreign occupying military dictatorship. The taxes that they were collecting as a result of this census were presumably later used to enslave other people throughout the empire, which is demonstrated by the dramatic increase in the size of the empire during this period. And this you believe to be a virtue, the paying of taxes at the end of the barrel of a gun to an occupying military dictatorship which was enslaving indigenous people throughout this part of the world. Yet when asked what democratic socialist is, the aforementioned website, instead of answering the question, claims that it is capitalists who exploit the weak. Mr. Van Koeverden, is this really your idea of a good government? Is this your understanding of democratic socialism? Shut up and pay your taxes to the big centralized dictatorship? Or are you just trying to co-opt our blessed Lord so as to make him an agent of your political movement? For credibility's sake, if you're successful, then your political movement, socialism, gains the entire credibility of the gospel and of God himself. And your singular argument for this, that we're all supposed to be so impressed with, is that our blessed Lord cared about people first and foremost. This is a common tactic used by various political movements to correlate one-to-one your political movement with the fact that Christ healed the sick and fed the poor, and that the Christians who followed him, they sometimes shared their personal belongings, and therefore our blessed Lord must belong to your political movement, because the only people who have ever fed the poor or healed the sick or shared things were members of your party, which in this case, being socialist, is quite ridiculous considering the track record. And the conflation of paying taxes with helping people, as if that's the single manner in which people are helped, as if it's an effective manner in which people are helped. I suppose that you have never had to stand in a government line, that you've never had a condescending government official, unelected I might add, roll her eyes at you, as the rest of us poor slobs have. If people are nothing more to you than subservient taxpayers, then you misunderstand what it means to be a human person. And you misunderstand the purpose of the government, which is made up of those human persons. The purpose of humanity is neither the capitalist's goal, the acquisition of wealth, or the socialist goal, the acquisition of wealth. We are here to fulfill our natures. And the government, whatever government that is, it's here in service of that, of us. We're not cogs of the machinery of government, cogs to be exploited by unbridled capitalists, nor cogs to be collectivized by socialists. In the Christmas story, the point is clear. Despite the fact that most, if not all, of the characters in the story are impoverished peasants, the point of the story is not a government social program. They are not in pursuit of a welfare office. The angels did not instruct the shepherds to go get in a line at the department of whatever. They, the angels, the shepherds, the wise men, they are in pursuit of this baby, God incarnate, for the purpose, the singular purpose of adoring him, of worshiping him, the purpose by which humans are fulfilled. None of them are in pursuit of their own personal gain. They are only pursuing this child because wealth, whether that wealth is accumulated by supposed capitalist exploitation or it's confiscated by caring socialists, it does not, and it never will. Wealth does not, and it never will fulfill human nature. It will never make us happy. Only the adoration of this holy child will. But it seems as though you would be content if your subjects did not adore this child. After all, you stated that you don't, because later on in that same clip, you stated that you were raised in a Catholic household and went to church, but have not since attended, saying that you've taken a slightly different path. That path, I presume, is socialism. Now, in my research for this video, I came across more than one clip of Adam stating that he grew up Catholic, so as to establish himself as an authority on what our blessed Lord taught or what he would do in a particular situation in the modern world. For example, there's another clip out there where he claims that our blessed Lord would march in pride parades because he loved people. Mr. Van Koeverden, do you think that there might be something a little more substantial to our blessed Lord's mission than that he cared about people first and foremost, or that he loved people, or that he encouraged his followers to share things? Because you are in fact reducing him to nothing more than a 60s hippie. And we have plenty of 60s hippies. I don't know why our blessed Lord went through so much trouble to come to earth if we had such an abundance of 60s hippies. What you've done is completely missed his sacred mission, his mission of unifying us to God, unifying us by his blood, by his very precious blood. When you were growing up Catholic, the point was that you conform yourself to Christ. But instead, you've made yourself into something else, a democratic socialist. And you're trying pathetically to conform Christ to that. If it is our goal, our primary pursuit to adore, to worship this child, this God incarnate, as the Christmas story teaches, then it follows that the purpose of government, which is made up of us, should work towards that goal. And it should at least not subvert it with contrary objectives. It is true that the human person is so much more than a tax-paying citizen or a marketplace consumer. Both ideologies, socialism and unbridled capitalism, they endlessly mine the human person for cash like a strip mine. But providing you with an income, whether you're the big government or a big international corporation, that is not the purpose of humanity. The human person is called to unity with his Creator. Yes, ultimately at the end of time. But not only at the end of time. The human person is called to be united to him here and now. And so, if that is what we're made for, then whatever form our government takes, it should reflect that ultimate end.